Hi guys, today I'm filming on my Canon starter DSLR. Whenever I've done this in the past, it's just not quite worked, it's been a little bit blurry. I've set it all up so I've got a mirror behind it, I can focus it to what I want it to be focused to, and I'm fingers crossed this is going to work. But I have two videos that I'm going to film right now, both of which aren't that important that you see the products I'm talking about, so if it's a little bit blurry, hopefully it doesn't matter, but fingers crossed it works for me. The first video I'm going to film for you today, which you will know by the title, is another Q&A, and although I haven't got as many questions as the last time, I think I've only got 9, I'm going to just do it anyway because this way I can ask you for more questions, and it's just something that would be a good test for this particular filming mode, so here goes. Okay, number 1, what are your top 3 nail polishes? I can't tell you overall, but kind of at the moment, my top 3 nail polishes are probably Delphinium or Casting Call, it's just too difficult, by Sally Hansen Complete Salon Manicure, Razzle Dazzle by Deborah Lippmann, and the one that I'm wearing today, which is called, what is it called? Absolutely Sure by Essie, which I absolutely love. This is the problem that I have with the camera. I don't think that it focuses when I put something up close, but it focuses from here. So anyway, Absolutely Sure from Essie. Next question. What advice would you give someone who is embarrassed about what people will say if they make their own videos, but they really, really want to make them? As I mentioned in my YouTuber tag, which I'll link below, I would not advise anyone that is in any kind of educational institute to make YouTube videos. There'll be lots of people that probably disagree with that, and you know, each to their own. But just knowing my experience of school, I would have been absolutely mortified if someone had found out that I was making videos when I was like 16 or something. It would be the absolute worst. And I mean, there's people much younger on YouTube making videos, and I just can't imagine how embarrassing it would be. So it's really, really tricky. I just basically, when I started, I didn't tell anyone, just to avoid that kind of embarrassment and to make it so that I was completely free in what I was saying, and I wasn't, I'm losing my words today. I wasn't censoring myself, I was just being myself, saying what I wanted to say, and I think if I'd known that people that I knew in the real world were going to see the videos that I was making, probably wouldn't have been as open with you guys as I was in the beginning. So that's my only advice to you. Don't tell anyone that you're doing it. It's very unlikely that they're going to find you. And I mean, I've been doing it for 2 years, and not one person from my real life, I haven't told myself, has come to me and said, oh my god, I found your YouTube videos. So just don't tell anyone that you do it. What is the next one? Would you move to another country if you could take your close family with you, and you or Lee? Oh, and you or Lee were guaranteed a job if you liked living... Let me read that again. Would you move to another country if you could take your close family with you, and were guaranteed a job... were guaranteed a job there, or you like living in the UK? Okay, I get the general gist. We would love to move to America. It's not possible because, as you know, Ella's dad lives nearby, and I could never take Ella away from her dad, not too far anyway. So it's one of those things that I've thought maybe when Ella's 18 plus we might do, because I know my close family would probably move with us, you know, in the future. It's the kind of thing that they might do. And Lee's not particularly close with his family, so we'll see, but we would both love, you know, if there were no ties to anything, we would both love to move to America. This was another question. Do you like comics? If yes, Marvel or DC? Really tricky because I don't like comics. So I said I was going to kind of try and make a decision. I'm going to say Marvel just because I've heard more about them, and obviously they make lots of films, but I'm not all about the films, and I'm not a big comic lover, so I'm sorry, but no, I'm not a big fan of the comics. How do you pronounce your first name? I get this question all the time, and it's really difficult to answer in text because if you've seen it written down and you can't pronounce it, then how can I then say, oh, it's like this? But it's Kyla, because my full name is Michaela. The reason that I don't use Michaela is because if I say my name's Michaela, people go, oh, Michaela, and that's the most irritating thing in the world, because it's like if you said, I don't know, if you said, oh, hi, my name's Jessica, and someone said to you, oh, Jessica? It's like, no. Why, if it was that, then why wouldn't I have said that? Don't correct me about my name. So my name is Kyla, is a shortened version of Michaela, which was an anagram of Mikhail, as in Mikhail Gorbachev, or Mikhail Baryshnikov, you may have heard of him, ballerina, and he was in Sex and the City. But it's an anagram of that. It's not kind of an official name, but my mum wanted to call me Michaela, and she wanted people to pronounce it Michaela, not Michaela, so she made it kind of an anagram of the Russian for Michael, which happens to be my dad's name, but that's just a coincidence, which is Mikhail. So that's how you pronounce my first name, Kyla. If money was no object, what would be the first thing you would do? Probably go on holiday. I'm constantly shopping for holidays. Lee would love a car, so we'd probably buy a car, go on holiday, and then come back and get a nice house. We love the house we live in now, but it's rented. I don't intend to buy a house for a long time because the house that we live in is in an ideal location for school, and I don't know why we would move. It's just ideal. So maybe in the future we'll buy a house if we win a lot of money or inherit a lot of money from somewhere random. But that's probably the first three things that we would do. But first of all, I would go on holiday. The last question, kind of the last question, is did you need any qualifications to work at Urban Decay? Again, I've had a lot of questions about this. I briefly worked as an account manager at Urban Decay. Really, really loved working on a makeup counter for the most part. The actual job itself is fantastic. It was really, really good fun. I got the job after making YouTube videos. I actually got the job because I sent in with my CV, which I had absolutely no experience whatsoever. I'd been in kind of customer service and management and things before, but nothing to do with retail since I was really, really young, and nothing at all to do with kind of cosmetics. I had no experience, no qualifications, and hands down, the reason that I got the job was because I sent in my blog, I sent in several YouTube videos that I'd made about Urban Decay, and they gave me the job because I had enthusiasm for the brand and was a smiley, happy person. It didn't work out because I didn't feel like I had enough experience to do the job, and they didn't really give me extensive training. And I've heard from other people since that they've been told by the same brand that they can't blog if they work for them. So I think it all depends on the area manager. I don't know if there's been a big shake-up high up or whatever, but at the time that is my story as to why I got the job, and I didn't have any qualifications whatsoever. Although I do have a qualification in like nail tech, but I did that as a course online, and I really don't know how to do it at all. Last thing I wanted to talk about, this is kind of a question and kind of not. It comes up very occasionally. Whenever it does, it's really irritating. But I thought I would address it again because I don't talk about it that often. And I've just seen a spider on the mirror that I'm using, and it's coming towards me. I'm going to ignore it and hope it goes away. Why don't you always use budget products? The person that this was brought up by recently, basically this is why it annoys me. I don't mind people saying why don't you always use budget products, because I will answer that question, that's fine. But they made out that I never use budget products, that I'm always talking about NARS and high-end products, and that's just not the case at all. I could probably hold all the high-end products that I own in one hand. I have one NARS foundation which I switch out for drugstore foundations all the time, but it's the one that I always compare my drugstore foundations to because it's my perfect colour match, so it still comes into play quite often. I've had that one NARS foundation since January of last year, so come on 18 months. It's not like I've repurchased, it's just something that I've kind of always gone back to, and it's something that I always compare things to. MAC I don't consider to be high-end, it's mid-range along with Urban Decay, but again, it's not something that I talk about all the time. It's just there's a couple of MAC eyeshadows that I'll talk about, and occasionally a lipstick or blush, but it's not like MAC all the time. Most of the products, probably 80 or 90% of the products I talk about are drugstore. There's just a few mid to high-end products thrown in for good measure. And if I never ever tried a high-end product, how could I possibly tell you that a drugstore product is as good as a high-end product? A budget just means that I haven't got all the money in the world to spend, and what I do spend my money on, it's a calculated decision. I either want to review it for you guys, and there's so much money that I've spent on things that I know I probably wasn't going to like, but I reviewed it for you anyway, so that's just a complete waste of money. I mean, if you consider all the things that I've purchased just to review on YouTube or my blog, I could easily have bought several high-end items for the money that I spent on that, but I didn't. I bought the things to review for you that were drugstore. So it just irritates me at the tiniest bit when people imply that I always talk about high-end products, because it's just not true. I do talk about high-end products and mid-range products as well as budget, but the majority of the things that I review for you and I buy are from kind of Boots and Superdrug. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of address it, and the spider has got closer. I'm just gonna have to get rid of it. Okay, wait. Well, the spider caused a lot of destruction in this room. Anyway, the end of the video. I just wanted to address that because I've had questions about it in the past, and I know, it's a solid question. It's just, it's just not true in the way that people generally pose it, and you can imagine how annoying that is to have several questions asking one particular thing over and over and over again. So I just kind of wanted to address it one final time, that I haven't got tons and tons of money to spend on beauty products, and the majority of the time I spend my money at the drugstore. Occasionally I treat myself to something high-end, and then I will compare those products for you. And I'll tell you, you know, if I say that something's worth spending your money on, it really, really is. And if it's going to last longer than a budget product, then it's still cost effective. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to clear that up. But thanks for all your questions. I really enjoyed doing these kind of videos, and fingers crossed the filming and lighting and everything came together. I mean, this is kind of evening time. It is 5:30, so it's not ideal lighting, but it wasn't too bright either, so fingers crossed it's all worked for me. If you've got any other questions you want me to answer, I'll probably do another one in a few weeks' time or a month's time, depending on how many questions I get. I just wanted to do this now, earlier than I normally would have done, just to test this particular setup. So yeah, any questions, leave me in the comments. Thanks for all the people that asked the questions before. Hope that my answers were comprehensive enough for you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.